This week on the Steam Machine podcast, God damn it, Sephiroth, stop doing shit. Cue the music! And welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always are my good buddies, the Brothers of Destruction themselves, the Destructo Bros. Trademark, not trademark.
Careful there, buddy. What's up, everyone? It's Nate.
Hey, this is Willie, and I am not a co-host this episode. I'm demoting myself because I didn't play the game anymore. So, I was not going to be on this episode, but we had a conflict of scheduling with the scheduled guest host, so I'm coming back, but as a junior sandwich artist is my title this episode. So I will not be discussing Final Fantasy in any meaningful capacity whatsoever. I'm just here to bullshit with the boys.
Works for me, man. What have you boys been up to this week? Let's start with you, Nate. What you been up to, brother?
Man, it's been kind of a not too interesting couple of weeks, but I did just start on Batman Arkham Asylum, and dude, I can see the hype now because that's one I never got around to back in the day, and it's hitting a lot of good itches for me. It's has good hand-to-hand combat, and the stealth parts of that game are really, really fun actually, and there's a lot of little puzzle solving kind of stuff you have to do with stealth, which I really enjoy. And one of them actually kind of cracked me up when I'm thinking about it now. It's there was this one room where the Joker had filled this room full of gas, and you had to hit these switches to make the gas go out the ventilation system. So there was 3 levels of them. So the first 2, you can just kind of have to find where it is and kind of get to where you can through the rafters and stuff using the bat grappling hook and all that stuff, and then throw the batarang down at it. So then I got to the second one, was able to get to the batarang that. Then the third one I could see had a breakable ceiling over it, but there was no way for me to get to it. I couldn't spray my explosives on or anything. But then I realized, one of the Joker's henchmen has just kind of been hanging up there trying not to get killed by this poison gas by a rope. I was holding on for dear life. I'm wonder what happened if I threw my batarang at it. So he threw the batarang, it broke the rope, crashed through the ceiling, and I was able to use my batarang to hit it from there. I just thought that was a really cool touch. I think they did a really lot of smart design decisions in that game. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. Arkham Asylum's great. The story is really fun, and like you said, the little puzzles and mechanics that they throw at you, they make you think, but at the same time, they're not fuck you hard.
Yeah.
But
I have died a couple times, and just Harley Quinn, she's so mean to me.
Yeah, dude. Harley, she could be a real harlot.
It's such an immersive game, too. I feel like it's the one where you feel like Batman so much. I haven't even played it, but I've watched people play it. And, just little things like seeing people terrified of your presence and stuff with their heart rate going crazy. That's so cool.
Oh, yeah, the heart rate monitors on everything. It's really cool.
Yeah. I also really like that they mask a lot of their loading screens. So, Batman will reach up and start talking on his ear, and it makes you walk. And he'll be having conversations, and what that's doing while that's happening is it's loading in the next part of the game.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Smart.
So it's really
that's
cool.
really good immersion because I didn't even realize that's what it was doing. I thought it was just storytelling, baby.
Yeah. I also learned that a lot of times in games, when you're having to squeeze through an area, so you're having to go through the little squeeze through this narrow section, the game is loading the next part as you're doing that. And I'm that's a cool little way to hide it. It's just have a little mechanic, you know?
So like when Batman's crawling through the vents and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then the new God of War game, that whole game is one fluid shot. So I don't know how that works out, but there's no loading at all in that game. It's all one fluid.
Wow.
Thing. I don't know how they mask that. I'm sure same way with doing the ear thing in Batman, but yeah, fucking crazy, man. I really enjoy the combat in that game too. It's just crunchy. Meaty is the word that I would use.
Yeah, I've had to turn off my Yakuza brain to play it because, like, in Yakuza, you just go crazy mashing buttons and stuff. You have to think a little bit more in the Batman games, but still a really good time. But I have to be a little bit smarter about combat than I did in Yakuza.
I've heard people describe the Arkham games combat as being rhythmic, like almost like a rhythm game. Like there's a real rhythm to the patterns. Like, have you felt that in any way?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's one you got to get used to too. It's like I said, you can't just like sit there and mash the buttons to make things happen. Like, you have to like throw a few hits, and you'll see another guy coming out from behind you, and it kind of does like a little time slow kind of thing when you see that guy winding up, and then you can press Y, which is your counter button, and Batman will turn around, and go bop, and get him, and then continue on his combos. I've had trouble like making big combos because I said there's a combo meter. I think the highest I've gotten it so far is like 12.
Oh, you'll get better. You'll get to where that combo meter gets way up there until later on they start throwing enemies at you that you have to do a little more to deal with than just go up and just start punching them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You might have to dodge behind them or do a certain thing. I don't want to give away too much because it'll pop. But that game is really satisfying. That's just by the end of it, I was like, "Fuck, that was great."
Yeah.
And it made me because I never played Asylum. Like on PS4, I had Arkham City and would play that. So I'm looking forward to getting to that for the show because I would like to see that on PC and glorious 2K.
Oh yes.
Willie, actually, before I get to my stuff, because I'm still pulling up the fantasy league, what have you been up to this week?
I got plenty, actually. Nate had been talking about it enough that I wanted to start playing it too, so I've been checking out this game, Vampire Survivors. It's still early access, but it's pretty much a full game now, and it's like, it's kind of like if a twin-stick shooter didn't have two sticks.
That's fair.
Like, it's a very Castlevania-flavored survival game. It's upgradey. It's kind of a little bit grindy, but in a pleasant turn. But like, I've heard someone describe it as a listening to a podcast game, and that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
That does make sense.
It's pretty cool. Like, the weapons are very Castlevania inspired. Like the characters too. It feels like it doesn't take itself extremely seriously, but it takes itself seriously enough to provide a good gameplay experience. And there's a lot of little fun mechanics you discover as you play that eventually make you feel like an insanely overpowered god, which is a nice feeling.
Oh yeah, dude, that's always a great.
One thing that I really liked about that game was like when you first start playing, you feel like insignificant, weak, and you can't do anything. And then as you progress, you're like, "Ha, this is easy." So it does a really good job of making the player feel like they accomplished something through the gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game kicked my ass when I played it.
The thing is,
it's worth like
if you keep going with it, Dalton, I swear you'll feel like a god too before too long.
Getting weapons to their second form is just so cool.
I'll have to give it another shot then. I haven't tried it with a controller yet.
So the funny thing is, I feel like I mentioned this in the chat a while back. I only realized like the other day that it actually has analog controls and it's not just 8 directions like WASD type controls. I've been playing with a D-pad, and the moment I used the joystick instead, so I can actually aim the knife weapon accurately, it's been a lot easier.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine. Yeah, that would probably step the game up a good bit from just using WASD. Yeah, for sure. Being able to see like rotate completely.
Knowing your gaming habits, I'm really surprised you went into it with a keyboard and didn't just go with the controller first off.
I mean,
I did play the controller. I'm using WASD as
talking about Dalton.
A metaphor here. Like I figured. Oh
yeah, me. I don't know, man. I just assumed that it didn't. I was thinking it was a different kind of game at first, and then when I got into it, I was like, oh, okay. It's like Zombie Party, but it's not a twin stick. It just did everything for you, but it very much reminds me of Zombie Party.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be more twin sticky too. Like I was kind of thinking I might play mouse and keyboard, but there's nothing that the mouse does, so it ends up being a pretty good just left stick game and select stuff.
Yes. Anything else you been up to, man?
Yeah, MultiVersus hit the open beta, and we've been playing a lot of that lately. We finally, like, the last time we talked about MultiVersus, we'd only played, like, one day of it, so we didn't have much to say, but now we have a little more experience with a few of the characters. We've learned about perks and about team comboing and cool stuff like that, and played some 2v2s, and it's actually been a lot of fun. Nate's Wonder Woman's getting really sick.
Yeah, dude, I love playing as Wonder Woman. Like, my two favorites so far, and I'm surprised they're two of the DC heroes. Like, I love Wonder Woman and Batman. They're just so much fun to beat the crap out of people with.
No love for Shaggy?
Shaggy's cool. Like, the thing is, the way they're kind of doing things right now is, like, they have it, like, on a rotation where there's, like, 5 characters available at once every 2 weeks, and the current rotation, Shaggy's not in it, so haven't had enough time with Shaggy, but he seems really cool, too.
Oh, yeah.
And I love how they just fully embraced the Ultra Instinct Shaggy meme.
Did they?
Yeah.
I saw something where he said that it's canon. He has a what?
He has a power-up move where he just jumps up and gets all rage and gets like a power aura around him, and that like buffs him for a little bit. So that's like super cool.
Oh, yeah?
There's also... I mean, they're definitely leaning into the meme status of the games a little bit, too. Like, Rick from Rick and Morty is going to be added soon, and of course one of the skins is going to be a Pickle Rick. So, fun little things like that. Hey, Internet, we're having fun out there. But, like, the character interactions are so fun, because you never would have thought, hey, what would happen if Arya Stark talked shit to Jake the dog? But then you get to see it. It's actually really fun.
Oh, fucking Jake the dog, man.
And they put LeBron James in there, too, and he looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Who was it? Was it Jeremy? I think it was. That was like, what the fuck is LeBron James? And I was like, Space Jam. The new Space Jam. He's like, fuck the new Space Jam. Word. I haven't seen it.
I mean, I get that the new Space Jam wasn't for me, but I can still respect that.
Yeah. Now, what they ought to do is add Jordan in there so you can do LeBron versus Jordan, which is what everybody's always wanted.
That'd be funny if that was finally where they got put together.
Yeah. Fucking MultiVersus.
Settled on the court of MultiVersus. I mean, they're adding a Space Jam stage to the game soon, so, I mean, who knows? Maybe. I'll be down.
I loved that.
They got so many characters that are, like, rumored and leaked, too. Like, there's going to be characters from Gremlins entering the game soon. I'm looking forward to that.
It'd be funny if this game ends up having just, like, this stacked-ass roster, like, Ultimate, Smash Ultimate, but...
Well, the funny thing is, too, when it first was announced, I thought there was, like, no thematic consistency in the roster. I was like, I don't care about the WB Extended Universe. That means nothing to me. Stop trying to be Disney. Space Jam 2 means nothing to me. But they've got a really unified, like, art style to where, like, real people and, like, cartoon characters from completely different universes look natural in the same room. It actually looks and plays in a really... there's a lot more actual vision to the game than I expected. I expected it to be a lame cash-in that would basically be the free-to-play version of Nick All-Stars Brawl. And no, this is actually sick fun.
Now, with MultiVersus, they have the Cartoon Network characters in there, correct? Like, Jake and, like, that's Cartoon Network? Okay, so that technically means... Yeah,
it has characters from Adventure Time and Steven Universe so far.
Well, that technically means...
I don't know if that... Yeah.
They have the wealth of Hanna-Barbera characters to pull from, and that could be cool.
I would love to see Hanna-Barbera representation. Bring me frickin' Space Ghost, dude.
Yeah, and Magilla Gorilla.
Dude,
yes.
I would kill Space Ghost would be dope, dude. That'd be so cool.
Right? You gotta bring in Brack, too.
Yeah, like a Space Ghost game, like stage where Brack and Moltar and Zorak are just in the background yelling at you the whole time.
Yeah, just trolling you for being bad, even if you're doing really good.
Yes,
I love it. Let me see. Oh, a quick update on the Fantasy League. The only thing that I remember that actually came out this week. Well, 2 things came out. Only one has a rating. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got me an 88.
How you got such a stacked roster, dude, of games? Like, you knew what you were doing going in.
Yes, I did. And I think I was one of the few people who did research. But so I also have Digimon Survive, and that is released, but it hasn't gotten enough reviews to have a score yet. So still waiting on that.
How much research did you need to do to know that Elden Ring was going to be a Game of the Year candidate? Everyone knew that, right?
I didn't have to take Elden Ring, but I didn't have to research Elden Ring, but I knew that Total War games usually do pretty well. Ollie games usually do pretty well. King of Fighters games usually do pretty well. I was just thinking about that instead of being like, fuck, that game looks cool, because I did that with the Star Wars Old Republic DLC or expansion, and that got me 62. So we see how that goes. But yeah, I'm happy so far. In fact, I think it was either Phil or Chad. It was one of the two in the group chat that we have about the fantasy league. Was talking. It just wrote Xenoblade got an 88. ... God damn you, Dalton. And I wrote. I said, dude, but I'm worried about Digimon Survive. And he writes back and he goes, almost all of your games are in the 80s. You can afford the hit.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Digimon Survive does, because I know that a lot of people were complaining it was more visual novel-y than they were expecting when they first heard of it.
Yeah, and see, like, that aspect doesn't bother me because a lot of the JRPGs that I play, like, they handle their banter between characters these days with visual novel stuff. So, to me, like, that's not a huge deal. Now, if you were coming from, like, some of the older Digimon games that aren't like that, and then this is a new, like, different kind of style, I can see why it would throw people off, though.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what Fire Emblem basically is? It's half visual novel and half chess that people get horny for?
Yeah, pretty much. That Persona has some visual novel aspects to it, although it's a little more in-depth than visual novel stuff. But, like, the Hyperdimension Neptunia games, like, the banter between the characters is in visual novel style. Yes, I don't know. I'm used to it, but I can see how not everyone would be and why that's a thing. But
I feel like if I'm coming to a JRPG, I expect to do a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. I have a buddy of mine's kid who literally learned to read because he likes playing RPGs. And my buddy was like, all right, I'm tired of reading these for you. So, like, you need to learn to read yourself so you can play these. And he's like, okay. So he did.
That's awesome.
So this week,
I wonder what Dragon Quest did for the Japanese literacy rate, man.
that would be a good question. Especially since, like, they have, like, Dragon Quest release day, holiday over there.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to release games on a weekday. Like, that's just hilarious.
I love that. That is one of my favorite fun facts in video game history. That is right up there with Mario 2 is actually a different game.
So, Willie, you possibly sparked a new obsession of mine. I haven't quite decided yet, but Champions Online. So I was talking to you guys. I was like, and it wasn't exactly what I was thinking of, because Champions Online almost reminds me of like DC Universe without the licensing. You know what I mean? It kind of plays like that, which, don't get me wrong, I love DC Universe, so that's no qualm from me. But, like, when I was talking to you guys, I was saying that a real superhero RPG is kind of like a niche that hasn't really been hit up much from what I can tell. Like, I think Freedom Force, I think those games were like an RPG, but I think it was more like tactical RPG on PCs back in the day. But I don't think you create your characters. I think you played as their characters. But, like, I would really enjoy a game where you could either create your character or maybe create your character and then have, like, everyone around you is established. It doesn't even really matter. But, like, a game where you can build yourself up as an RPG, gain your skills, become a better superhero throughout it, or villain. You could go either way. But not make it an MMO. Because I feel like all the superhero games that have this stuff that I'm looking for are MMOs, including Champions Online. Now, what I will say with Champions Online, though, is the character creation is fucking awesome. There is a lot to it.
Whenever I find out that a game has been covered on Monster Factory, I assume it has one of the best character creators of all time. That's where I first heard about Black Desert, for instance.
Black Desert's awesome. I love that game.
I do wonder, though, like, the idea of superhero RPGs, I wonder if the reason there aren't more of that going around is because when you hear superhero, you think of big action, going crazy on things, and turn-based RPGs are a little bit harder to sink your teeth into as far as what you expect Batman to be doing, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, and that's fair. And it doesn't have to be like a turn-based RPG. It could be action RPG or whatever, you know what I mean? But, like, I just want it to be like, for instance, like Spider-Man. You play through, you get these little skill points, and you can unlock new skills and everything. But, like, I would like to be able to raise my attributes, or, be able to choose from a pool of powers, like, and kind of mold your own superhero.
Yeah.
As opposed to jumping in and playing as one that's already established. But still, you could make it action. You could give it the fucking Batman combat. I'd be perfectly fine with that. You know what I mean? But just little things that they do in MMOs that I think could be put into like a single player experience that would be really cool. Like giving you the choice of, do you want to run really fast? You want to be able to fly? Or do you want to like have a hoverboard that you ride or whatever? You know, like those little choices are what I think would make for a cool immersive experience as a solo player.
And it's funny to me that there aren't a lot of like single player RPGs for superheroes, because now that I think about it, there are a ton of tabletop systems that are based on superheroes. Like, you know, there was the old Marvel superhero system back in the day. There was what was the one you were showing us earlier? You sent us one that we were like making jokes about how that one character was like Colossus. So there's champions, obviously. There's hero. I have that. Like, there's a lot of systems.
That was Mutants and Masterminds.
Mutants and Masterminds, yeah.
Which...
Mutants and Masterminds seems like really diverse, too. I went and looked up the Wikipedia page for that, and there's so many, like, setting modules for that. Like, you can play it Golden Age, you can play it edgy in 90s. Like, there's a bunch of options. Yeah.
And that's one I'm definitely looking into for doing TTRPG for the show. I really enjoyed, like, I was very happy with that website that I found that book on. It was just so satisfying that it let you click the page, and then you could actually flip the page, like you were turning them. It was like, I could do this for the next 20 minutes and be happy just turning these pages. And then I figured out I could full screen it so I could actually read it, and it was fantastic. The character builds in there were quite fun, too. I shared a couple of them with you. I know Nate was like, I want to be Colossus, dibs on Colossus.
Yeah. I just want to be a big, stupid barbarian. Let me live my life.
Yeah, and in Champions, I created the Golden Scorpion. He wears black and gold. He's got a energy sword. He uses one-handed weapons, and he can fly. And he's pretty cool so far.
He does a Scorpion Death Drop, Scorpion Death Lock, all that kind of stuff.
Stinger Splash, you know. Yeah, he covers all the bases. Other than that, man, like, so I was playing Pokemon Heart Gold to join Adam whenever he decides to do that for his podcast, and my save corrupted on my emulator. So I'm like, oh man, I wasn't super far, but I had like 3 or 4 badges, and I'm just like,
it still hurts because you were starting to get attached to your starter Pokemon and the first few Pokemon that you'd caught. Like, I get that, man. It's like, kick in the dick.
Yeah, it fucked me up, dude. I was just like, God damn it, man. But I'll start it over again, and I guess I'll just try again. I don't know what I did to corrupt it. That's the big problem, is like, I don't know what happened to corrupt it.
Well, the real good news is, though, you just get to get another Totodile. It's fine.
That's true. Or it's like, do I want to try something else? No, probably not, because I really want Feraligatr.
Yeah, Feraligatr's awesome.
Feralgirder, or whatever, however they had to spell it.
Feraligatr. Got her done.
Get her done. The only other non-Final Fantasy thing that I have was just something that I did today that I thought was awesome. Y'all might be like, meh, because I don't know if you've ever played a Hitman game, but so I'm playing Hitman 2, and I just wanted to play the first level. Did I get what? I think you're gone again, Willie. So on the first level, it's this house, right? Like, and it's just on a beach, and you have to go in and kind of make your way up to this computer and get this information off of it, and then your target comes in. So basically, you're having to then hide, and hopefully before then you have done your things to set up to try to kill the person, like poison the sugar by the drinks, you know, that kind of thing, right? Well, I wanted to try this way because there's challenges that you can do that raise your mastery for each level. So I wanted to try this challenge where you poison the air vents on the top of the house while they're in the safe room, and it kills them, right? So I did that, but apparently before that worked, I was able to, like, I had to pop 2 security guards in the head. Boom, boom. It alerted some other people, right? All of a sudden, I use my little, like you have on Batman, like the bat vision. It's like your Hitman vision. And I see the target, who's red, now has left the house, and she's running up the beach.
Oh, no.
And I was like, fuck, she's going to make it out before I can get off this house. So I ran to the edge of the house and drew my silenced pistol and just aimed and went, hope this works, pulled the trigger, boom, one shot from like way off in the distance, hit her right in the back of the head. Boom, killed her. And it was like target eliminated, unnoticed kill, because she fell in tall grass. Boom. And I was like, that could not have worked any fucking better.
That is so lucky, dude. And honestly, that almost sounds like you had the exact opposite scenario of what I did in Batman. Like, you were trying to poison gas them while I was trying to save them from the poison gas.
Yeah, I was doing my best Joker. That house is funny.
You use poisonous gas to poison their asses.
That house is funny. There's this section where they're like, you try to get into the computer, it's like, you need a password dongle. So you start looking around, and there's this painting on the wall that looks suspicious, so you grab it and you kind of just give it a twist, and this wall just opens up, and there's this fucking, like, on the wall inside of this room, it's just all kinds of weapons. There's a fucking, like, automatic rifle, there's a shotgun, there's a silenced pistol, there's some throwing knives, there's a samurai sword. Like, there's so many weapons in here that you can grab and use. But my favorite, just one more quick thing about this level, and I'll get off it. Like, the first time I ever played it on PS4, when they come in and you're having to start dealing with the people, you're upstairs kind of behind this wall looking in as they're moving their stuff inside. Well, I didn't realize I had to kill the girl. I thought I had to kill the guy this first time. So he's like talking to the chick and everything, and he's like, go and turn the lights on. She goes and turns the light on, and he took off his hat, and as he was putting his hat on the hat rack, boom, I splattered his head right just from behind. And it came up and was just like,
hi honey, I'm home.
Non-target killed. And I went, fuck. And then all the guards came out and just lit me up with their automatic rifles.
Good job, 47.
Yeah, that's what I told my dad, because my dad's played it too. And I got that long range shot with the pistol. He's like, you did that with a pistol? I said, yeah, that's why they call him Agent 47. He's the man. Oh, well, gentlemen, we played some Final Fantasy.
We sure did.
Starting on disc 2. Now, I don't know how much we actually want to go into like details and things like that, but like things that stood out to you in the second half of the game. You have any that jump out?
Okay, one of my first favorite things to always bring up are stupid mechanics in Final Fantasy VII. So one of the stupidest mechanics in this game, in my opinion, was when you were climbing the Great Glacier. And every time you got to a ledge and you had to stop, you had to mash your like X button in order to get warmed back up before you could start climbing again. Otherwise, I didn't let it happen, so I don't know what actually happens if you let it drop. I'm assuming you freeze to death.
Yeah, I actually don't know either, because I kept my thing at like 56 or 58, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was just such a silly mechanic, dude. Like, why did they make us do that?
Yeah, and the funniest part's when you're mashing that button, that cloud's kind of just like jerking really fast up and down, like he's quivering. I guess maybe is that the word, or like hunched over? But I don't know. It was just a really funny animation that he just does very quickly while you're trying to heat up. And yeah, it was like, why?
I think it goes back to what we were saying last week. They were just trying to add things in to make it more video gamey, and some of the things stuck and some didn't. And I think that's one that didn't.
It's an early QTE.
You're an early QTD.
Woo! Oh, well, thank you. You bless your heart. You're so sweet. It's funny that they took that mechanic and they were like, you know what? This didn't work here, but I bet we can use this to make summons more powerful. And they put that shit in 8.
Yeah, mashing for the sake of mashing is not fun. And I think video games have learned that.
I would hope so.
At least in like Smash Bros, when you have to mash, you can use directional inputs too. That also counts. So rotating the C stick, you know,
it's definitely better than jamming the same button with your finger over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like I felt like that climb, it could have been like done in one screen,
but it was like,
you know, like you go up and then you go into the cave, and it could have just been like you just go up for a while and then eventually at the top you get to the cave and then you come out and you're at the whirlwind maze or whatever. But nah, you got to go up and then you got to go in this cave, then you got to come back out through another area, and then you got to go up, and you might went the wrong way, so then you got to go back down and you got to go up the other way. And god damn it, I know people complain about things being streamlined, but like there are reasons that some sections of games get streamlined, and it's for just like this type of shit.
Yeah, it's when pathways aren't like... It's when they just throw a maze at you for no reason, just with these dead ends that lead you to nothing, and you're just kind of like, why did you make me do this?
Yeah. Yeah, and in Western RPGs, and then some of the newer JRPGs have gotten me into the habit of, I look at the mini-map, if there's a mini-map, and I'm like, all right, so that's obviously a dead end. Well, I have to go that way. There's got to be an item at the end of that.
Yep.
So I found myself like going up these different directions on the mountain to see, and there was nothing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Because like it's hard not to. Because like you have that mindset when you're playing games. Like I got to collect all this stuff. I want to see what all there is to see. What if there's a really badass materia up on this ledge? You know?
Yeah.
And then there never is.
Bahamut Rick James might be up there on that cliff, but no.
Giga slapped.
It slaps, and as he goes away, you just hear Unity. It's yeah, that section going up that fucking ice hill and having to warm yourself up led to another section that drove me fucking crazy. I think, wasn't it in the whirlwind maze with the fucking wind thing that was driving me absolutely shit crazy?
That's why it was the whirlwind maze, baby. That is exactly where that was. You sent us messages in the group chat about it. I was like, oh my god, I hate this fucking part so much.
I did, and then you're like, I went through no problem.
Yeah, I got to the one you were complaining like specifically about the third one taking you like 15 minutes or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, I got through that first try, bud.
Made me think of, I know you didn't watch Seinfeld, but there's this episode of Seinfeld where I think it's Elaine's like, oh my god, it's so hot. Aren't you hot? It's so hot in here. And it goes to Jerry, and he just goes, actually, I'm quite comfortable. It's just like, that's what it made me think of when you were like, I got through first try, it was no big deal. I don't know if it was the mods that I was using, like, made it obscure the wind more or something, or if I don't know what the fuck. Like, it got to the point where I leveled up like 4 times trying to go through there.
And it did. I ran into the second one time, and right after I ran into it, I got into an encounter. Was it one of those things where you got into an encounter every time you ran into it?
Every single time you ran into it, it would throw you into a battle.
Yeah, and that was a kind of a tougher monster, too, at that point.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you were only level 70 at that point, so it didn't matter for you.
Yeah, I did a lot of leveling in this game. We'll touch on that in a bit, but, like, yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just, like, tedious. Mm-hmm. Because if I fucked up, it immediately threw me into a battle, so I couldn't just go and try again. I had to then deal with this battle and then try again, only to mess up again and get thrown into another battle. And it's not like I could kick on my speed up and just run through it because I had to use timing.
Yeah.
So like trying to do it at the ×5 speed or whatever, like wasn't possible. So I was just like, man, but I did eventually get through it.
It's weird too that.
What was that? So like that leads up to the first battle with Sephiroth. Isn't that the first big battle with him on disc 2? Or do you not fight?
I don't think you fight. Don't you fight like a version of Genova at that point?
That's right. It's Genova Life.
It's something, yeah.
Or I don't know. There was like 3 different versions.
Yeah, it was some whacked version of Genova at that point. Because I got confused. Like, I don't think you ever fought Sephiroth until the end of the game on disc 3. So
that's right.
I think it was like the first version of Genova, which also was kind of weird that there was a Genova fight, considering. But yeah, I think you're right that he sent that first form of Genova at you at that point.
And then after that, you moved on to like doing the Junon and Mideel and all that. And it was in Mideel where, or no, I'm sorry. I think it was at the end of the Whirlwind Maze. Isn't that where Cloud starts realizing that like he's a clone and he kind of gets like overwhelmed with Mako energy, and he's like in the wheelchair, just like
yeah, it's somewhere around there at that point in the game. Yeah, that Cloud kind of gets dunked in the Mako energy and kind of loses his mind a little bit, and your party gets split at that point. It's like that's one of the more interesting parts of the game, I think, is when you're having to use different party leaders at that point, because there's times where you're controlling Tifa as your main character, and then Sid as your main character. And I thought that was kind of a neat little way to do your little side quest to get some of your other characters a little bit more specialized attention.
Yeah, and it helped me raise their levels up without Cloud just being way above everyone else.
Yeah. I was kind of like, when I got there, I was kind of desperate to get Cloud back because I wanted to look at the whole gang together. Because, like, I don't know, for some reason, it just felt wrong.
Yeah, it was strange. But it was nice. Like, I really enjoyed, and I don't remember if this was the exact moment. Well, fuck it. We're not going through beat by beat, so we'll just cover it now. I really enjoyed the reveal when they were talking about that Cloud was basically constructed from Tifa's memories of Cloud, this guy named Cloud, and of Zack. And I missed the opportunity. You can actually go back to Nibelheim after certain events. Actually, I think after you realize that, and you'll see a flashback scene that kind of shows the end of Zack and Cloud meeting at the reactor and stuff. And I meant to go back and do that, and I didn't. But really cool how they went through that with Sephiroth like leading you and Tifa just like begging Sephiroth to stop.
Yeah.
Like, Sephiroth, stop. Like, stop doing this. And Cloud's like, no, it's okay. No, it's okay. I have a huge dick. I don't believe him. Come on. Like, whatever. Like, look at my sword. Like, come on. And yeah, by the end of it, Cloud's like, who am I?
Yeah. You really gave it to Cloud there. I guess maybe I'm dumb and I don't quite understand how everything tied together. Because, like, so Cloud was this real kid, right? Was Cloud a clone at that point, or was he just infused with the Mako energy? So he got, I'm a little, again, he kind of confused himself because he kind of infused his memory with Zack's stuff. Because, like, he was actually, that's that little soldier next to Zack, not actually Zack at that point. So, like, was he a clone, or what is Cloud's whole deal? Because I still don't really quite get that side of it.
I want to say that he was a failed experiment, and then that's why he wasn't even good enough to get into soldier, or at least what he thought. And then, like, that's why he was just like a grunt. But, like, when he saw Tifa getting hurt because they had grown up together, well, no, because that doesn't make sense either.
Because how did he grow up with her if he was a clone?
So maybe the memories of him being a clone are the memories of Zack. I don't know. Plot hole.
I want to say I thought he was a real person that was just exposed to.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, you know, the Nibelheim, the things in the Nibelheim reactor, like pods. Like, I figured he was one of those, and he took it better than most, but like he lost his memory, I think, and ended up absorbing like Zack's memories just because that's kind of how he saw himself or something. That was what I remember.
I think that makes sense, that he was like actually this kid that grew up with Tifa, then went off to become this big soldier guy, and then he was put into Hojo's experiments, and then was kind of went from there as far as it goes. He was like a failed clone of Sephiroth, but was still out there with Sephiroth. So it makes me wonder, was Zack a clone? Was Zack in that same, I don't know.
I guess we'll have to play Crisis Core. I think maybe Cloud being exposed to Genova, or like, you know, whenever that went down in the reactor, something happened where it was like his memories in the weird live stream bullshit that they got into. I think his memory somehow got mixed up, or it was like he got Tifa's memory of him and Zack both put into one. And man, I paid attention to it, but it was like a week and a half ago. Yeah. I don't remember, but
I'm sure some big FF7 fan is yelling at their phone right now, being like, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah, where's Paulsh when we need him? He did the deep dive on the lore. He would know,
right?
But yeah, did you guys? Well, Nate, I know I probably know your answer to this. So I guess I'll just talk about me, because Willie, I know you didn't get a chance to play much, but the Golden Saucer, going back there.
You know my answer.
Yeah, I went back there. So for some reason, I had like a week left, and I was right at the end of the game, and I was like, well, I guess I'll go do some other stuff. And I ended up 100%ing, like getting 100% achievements on Steam for this, which was baffling to me.
Dang.
But let me tell you, doing the battle square over and over and over and over and over and over and over to get Omnislash was a pain in the ass. But my God, does that do a lot of damage. Omnislash does a lot of damage. The only reason I was able to beat Ruby Weapon was because I had Omnislash.
Did you end up looking up a guide on how to get through the battle square, or did you just figure it out?
No, I just went in there and it was like, okay, they're just going to throw a lottery at me. So I was high enough level at that point that I had a bunch of HP.
Yeah.
So the only time I really ran into trouble was when I would get the random lottery thing that would break my support materia. And then all of a sudden I went from having like 8,000 HP to 3,000 HP. And then it was an issue. But no, it really wasn't all that bad. I did get fucked one time and I won by the skin of my teeth. Okay. I got hit with the lottery thing gave me you can't use items. And then I immediately got turned into a frog.
Oh.
And then I got hit with berserk.
You were a berserk frog.
So I was a little berserk frog.
Ribbit, motherfucker.
And I managed to go the next 3 rounds and not die because my frog, because he was berserked, was hitting harder. So he was just whacking motherfuckers.
That's funny.
Going Frog Lesnar.
Frog Lesnar.
Throwing those hammers and
Full battle toad up in this bitch.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I was able to do that eventually. And then I was like, the one thing that almost kept me from getting 100% achievements was like, do I still have a save with Aerith alive that I can go back and get her limit break? Because I had gotten everything up to getting her 4th limit break and then forgot about that. And then she died. So I did have one save because I had saved multiple times. I had one save that still had her. So I was able to go back and get her limit break or her final and get that achievement. But let me tell you, boys, before we touch on like the end of the game and stuff, that moment when the weapons come out, right? I think it's not much longer after Junon and Medeal, because that's when Diamond Weapon, I believe it is, approaches Junon and they shoot it with the gun and all that. That one is a breeze.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially compared to its friends. So my ass tried Emerald Weapon before Ultima Weapon. Right? So
Wow.
Holy shit.
What?
That was the loudest crack of thunder.
Oh.
I was like, I'm sitting here and all of a sudden it was just like, boom, out my window. I was like, holy shit. Sorry. So Emerald Weapon, I did not know there was an underwater materia.
Oh.
So I went into that with the time limit.
Oh, no.
Right? So he killed me probably a good 10 times before I finally got him. But man, what a fucking dude, you gotta know what you're doing going into those. I did not realize what I was getting into.
Don't they have 1 and 2 million hit points or something very close to that?
I think Emerald Weapon had 600,000 and I think Ruby Weapon had 800,000.
That is a lot.
Still a lot.
But yeah, seeing as that I was hitting it for 2,000 and 3,000, it took a while. Limit breaks saved me in Emerald Weapon, and the fact that I had 99 Phoenix Downs came in handy too. But so then I filmed me finding and defeating Ultima Weapon for TikTok stuff, which Ultima Weapon wasn't bad, except it was that was one of those fights that if you did a certain amount of damage to it, it would then run away and dart around the map, so you had to fly around and find it again. That was a bit of a pain in the dick. But the Ruby Weapon, whoever designed that boss is a fucking masochist. Okay? Because or it might be sadist. It doesn't matter. Dude, that fucking fight, you go in, and I don't know if you guys have ever attempted this before, and fun fact, the original Japanese version did not have Ruby Weapon and Emerald Weapon. They were added for the American version.
Didn't know that.
Which is weird, but yet they even made a new version for the Japanese market called Final Fantasy VII International that does add back the weapons and a couple of the other changes that they made for the international releases.
Well, there you go. I didn't realize that until I was looking into the weapons themselves. And so the way Ruby Weapon goes down is you start your fight and you smack it, and whoever you smack it with gets whirlwinded or whirl sand, and they just whoop, gone. And then the next person you attack it with, the whirl sand, whoop, gone. So you have one party member. So after wiping about this a few times, I went in and attacked with everyone but Cloud. And I was able to eventually win it with just Cloud. But it was a hour or so cycle of me
Jesus.
attacking it attacking me healing, it attacking me healing, it attacking me limit breaking on its little fucking tentacles that come out, because I could hit the tentacles for like 8,000 instead of hitting it for like 200, right? Hit its tentacles, then heal. And basically it was just a repeat cycle of me keeping myself healed until I could limit break its tentacles.
Wow.
And it took forever, but I finally beat it, and that was the point where I was like, I am going to go beat this game now.
I'm over this.
And then you sneezed on the final boss and he immediately died.
Oh yeah, the final battle, like, so let's jump to there, because
Well, before
there's
we
some
get
stuff
to there,
that
let's cover
happens.
a couple other things, right?
Oh.
It's like one thing I wanted to bring up was there, like, because like I want to bring up the goofy mechanics in this game again. How did you?
Fair.
How did you guys feel about the submarine battle?
It was easy as shit.
You just had to like jump. You just drove right up on it and shoot it like 4 times and it's over. It was just like such a weird little mini game. Like, why did you put this in here, guys?
My absolute favorite pointless minigame is Fort Condor, by the way. I loved Fort Condor.
Hey, Fort Condor, I can see why that one would be fun for people, because it at least had like that little bit of pseudo strategy game elements to it where you felt like you were doing something. But like
It's like you're playing a strategy game, but you don't have to be smart or have any strategy. It's great.
Yeah, that submarine battle reminded me a lot of, so on PS1 I had a game called Tiger Shark, and it was like you were like a little, I call it like an underwater plane, but it was just a really speedster like underwater craft. And I just like remembered that, and as soon as it gave me control of the submarine, it was like, okay, this is going to be like Tiger Shark, this is going to be intense. And I went forward like 3 feet and fired a couple missiles, and it was over. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
so silly, dude. But before we even get to Sephiroth, though, like one of my favorite, ended up being one of my favorite sections of the game was when you go back to Midgar, when you fly back in and parachute down into Midgar, and then you finally get to have your like comeuppance with Heidegger and Scarlet, those terrible, terrible, horrible people. And then I really enjoyed like fighting Hojo, like the scientist that created Sephiroth, who you find out is actually Sephiroth's father. And then he fight all these versions of himself because he injected himself with Genova cells as well. And he's got like a 3-form boss with him, which I thought was a really cool, really fun segment of the game.
I really enjoyed that whole area because I liked the FMVs that they would do, where they had that gun set up on Midgar to shoot at Diamond Weapon coming in, and it just sucked up all the energy of the city. Or was it? Yeah, it was Diamond Weapon. And, I mean, it was just crazy when they pulled it up and all the lights in the city go out. Ooh, gone. And then that thing just blasts that shot out. But the satisfying thing, and it sucked because the tower fell, a bunch of people died, there was a bunch of explosions and stuff, but watching that one motherfucker up in the Shinra Tower just get blown to smithereens.
Rufus, yeah.
It was like, that's what you get. That's what you get.
And it was funny, like, watching that scene, and then how, like, as soon as everybody realized Rufus had died, everybody was, like, immediate power grab mode or immediate, well, Shinra's gone. Because, like, Rufus and Heidegger and Scarlet were like, yeah, Shinra's ours now.
And then
I'm glad that the final fight with Hojo is satisfying, because even by Shinra standards, he is a huge piece of
Hojo's
shit.
the worst. It's Hojo's, like, if you really think about it, this entire thing is Hojo's fault.
Yeah. He's the real villain here.
yeah, 100%.
And he's not even, like, greedy like most of Shinra. He's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah, like, Sephiroth is just a creation of the real villain who became more powerful than the real villain.
Yeah.
And fun fact for people, if you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, when you're on your way to fight Hojo, be sure to have Barret in your party, because then if Barret is in your party, there's a chest on the way up the gun that gives you his final weapon, or it's his final limit break.
No, it's his weapon. It's his weapon.
Weapon?
Yeah, because I made sure to have Barret in my party at that point, because, like, you know, I played Barret a lot in my party, and so I wanted to get it. And, like, I never really ended up using the final/ultimate weapons, whatever you wanted to call them for the characters, because they didn't have any materia growth on them.
Yeah.
See, by that point, that was moot to me.
I still, like, it wasn't that important to me either, but I still wanted to see if I could make Odin have a baby, and he did.
That was one thing that was nice, is that when you max your materia out, it gave you another one.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, well then, I could keep this, or I could sell it for 1.5 million gil.
What did you use money for, my dude?
Potions, high potions. Oh, I finished this game with an absolute assload of money.
Yeah, it's like there was not enough to spend the money on if you sold your materia. It's like money was only important for like the first few sections of the game if you didn't grind at all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just had a bunch of money that I just, anytime I needed something, because I have this thing where, like, if I can afford it in a game, I want to have max of that item.
Yeah.
So I had max potions, max high potions, max Phoenix downs, like that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, see, I'm like the opposite. Like, if I can use magic to cure things, I will. Because it's always cheaper to just stay at the inn one time than to use 7 potions. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, there were times that I would be like, well, I've got, let's see, they need 5,000 HP to heal to max. I'm going to use these 40 potions that I have to get them up as high as it'll get them, and then I'll start using my high potions. Yeah. In the menu, so I'm just like, bling, 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 healing. I did like the first encounter with Ultima Weapon in Mediel.
Yeah.
Like when Cloud's flipping the fuck out, and I think I don't know who you had in your party. I think mine was Barrett, Sid, and Vincent.
Yeah, Sid, I think, was the main person in your party at the time. Like, he was your party leader at the time. So I think I had Sid, Barrett, and Red 13.
Okay, yeah. And basically, what Ultima Weapon does in that fight is the same thing he does the other kinds you fight him, is when you do enough damage to him, he basically just fucks off.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is... Oh, I keep calling it Ultima Weapon, but it's Ultimate Weapon. Not that it matters. The fucking Final Fantasy is weird with their spellings and stuff, but I really enjoyed that. I liked the underwater reactor area.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fun, and the area that I ended up telling you about that I went and did a bunch of leveling at, the I don't remember what it's called. It was the crashed ship.
Yeah, it was like the crashed submarine. There was a hallway in there that was worth a lot of XP and AP if you just stood there and grinded for a long time. Like, and I just ended up staying there for a long time as well after you told me about it, and got Cloud up to like level 80 and the rest of the guys in their 70s, except for Kate Sith, because no one plays as Kate Sith.
Damn, boys, I meant to tell you, my friend Brian told me that's a great place to grind, and I think you can get sources to gain, like, stat increases down there.
I never used the sources, which I probably should have, but...
I used every source I found on Cloud.
That's not a bad idea.
Nice. He looks like he's got the Bane Super Soldier Serum in him now.
He just needs the Lucha Mask.
I think I just combined 2 comic... I think I said Bane and then Super Soldier Serum. That's 2 different things.
Yeah, it is, but that's okay. But yeah, I honestly, I liked the difference in, like, you had your underwater submarine, and then you had your, like, shallow watercraft thing, and then you had the high wind, or not the high wind, but you know
that's what it's called,
like,
yeah. Wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay. Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I know that his weapon was called that, so that's why I was like, oh, wait a minute. But okay.
His weapon, his last name, his final limit break, and the airship are all called Highwind.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
How many final limit breaks did you end up finding, Dalton? No, you 100%ed, so you got them all, didn't you?
I got them all.
Yeah, I only got 2 during my playthrough, because like I said, I was not going to spend any time at the Golden Saucer, so Omni Slash was off the table. But I ended up finding Sid's, which is Highwind, which is pretty cool, and then I had Red 13's Cosmo Memory.
Yeah, Cosmo
I don't
Memory.
remember where I got that. I just saw it in my inventory. I was like, ooh, I have a...
You get it from Cosmo Canyon at some point. I think it might be whenever you go back to Cosmo Canyon.
Okay.
Because that's also the point that if you've gotten the 2 other Bahamut's that you get... is it Exo? Yeah, Bahamut Zero.
Actually, that's not how you get Bahamut Zero. You have to get all 4 huge materia, because you can fail getting huge materia. So if you only go there with 3 of them, you don't get Bahamut Zero.
That's right. I forgot that you can fail getting the first two.
I mean, you can fail, like, the hardest one to get was the one from Rocket Town. Like, I failed it the first time, and luckily I'd saved right before I went to Rocket Town, so I was like, nope, and I reset and went back to my save, and I looked up the code. Fun fact, the code is different on Switch and Xbox than it is on PlayStation.
Really? It's the same on PC as it is on PlayStation, apparently, because the guide I was using had the PlayStation stuff once I was, like, scrolling down. And I was like,
Because I typed in the one from PlayStation on my Switch, and it was like, incorrect. I'm like, what? I transposed the buttons all properly and everything. So then I, like, went back to the thing. I was like, looked up Switch code for this, and it's like, yeah, it's different. I was like, weird.
why would they change it? Just leave the button layouts the same, damn it.
God, controller button layouts, like, especially between Switch and Xbox, kills me, dude.
Yeah, because the A and the B being swapped is very strange. And also, like, Final Fantasy VII's gotten me used to, like, hitting B for OK for everything, or circle, and now I'm just backing out of all kinds of shit.
Yeah,
in other games.
See, that's the problem I'm having when I went back to Switch, and because, like, A on Switch is the far right hand was the button for accept for everything essentially, and, like, I've gotten so used to the Xbox when A being down here at the bottom button, and it's just like, oh, y'all are killing me.
The weird thing is, it makes sense on the... If you look at the iconography of the original PlayStation controller, it makes sense, because, like, a circle looks like it should mean okay, and an X looks like it should mean no thank you. And that's what they did for 7 in the West, and all of them in Japan. But for some reason, the other games, when they translated them, they used X for okay and circle for back.
That's
8
so
and 9
bizarre.
was like that.
Yeah, very strange. I'm trying to think of some other things that jumped out to me. I liked in the Northern Crater Cave, like that last dungeon that you're in. I like when they do the party split.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting to see, like, what little items they would bring back to you, and it was just depending on, like, who you chose in the party and what direction you sent them in.
Yeah. Pretty cool idea.
Just cool.
So I guess before we talk about the that final scene in the Northern Cave and Sephiroth and all that, I had a couple questions that apply to both of you. So I didn't get to see a whole lot of them, but I was wondering what your favorite limit breaks in the game were. Dalton, since you got them all, I know you have a lot of opinions. I really liked Cosmo Memory a lot. I thought that one was really dope. Like, everything. I love Red 13, dude. Everything about that dude's cool.
So as you were telling me about you getting limit breaks, I went on YouTube. I said the YouTube like some grandma, and just looked up the animations for him. I did think Cosmo Canyon was really cool. I know this doesn't count as a limit break because it isn't, but I still think my favorite attack animation in the game is Supernova. In the final boss
dude.
Fight.
I got so happy when Sephiroth cast that on me.
Cosmo Memory was definitely one of the cooler looking ones. I like the ones that I used the most were Tifa's Final Heaven, Barrett's I'm gonna shoot the fuck out of this dude move, because I can't remember the name of it, but it shoots a lot of times. And then Omnis Slash.
It's Omni Gun is what it's called.
And then my other question was, what were your favorite summons in this game? Like, so I didn't end up getting them all because that's a lot of effort that I didn't want to put into getting Knights of the Round. So I ended up really loving Hades. I thought Hades had one of the dopest animations, and I loved that he caused status effects that basically petrified, poison, and put to sleep your enemies.
It's like having your own
right?
Malboro.
I thought Hades looked really cool. I didn't cast him a super lot, but I had him on, I think it was Barrett, with the materia, the add skill materia, I think it was. And basically it just means that every attack that you would do with your character, it added the summons stuff to it. So it would...
That is so smart.
Shoot, and it would give them poison and all of that shit.
I didn't even think to do that. That's so freaking smart.
It's dope as fuck. I want to be honest, mine's a weird one, and y'all are probably going to think I'm just joking with you or just making a joke about how I only played Disc 1, but honestly, it'd been so long since I played it that I forgot how in love I am with Choco Mog. Like, that is, not only is it a cute animation, but there are 2 of them. There are 2 different animations. It occasionally gives you Fat Chocobo instead of...
I never got
Fat Chocobo one time.
And Yeah, Fat Chocobo's adorable as
I only got it one time, and I missed my screenshot button, and I was like, no! But yeah, freaking adorable, dude.
Yeah. One that surprised me that I thought was really cool was Kujata, because I'd forgotten that was a summon ever to begin with, and then it does the Tetra Flame, or Tetra Disaster, I think it was what it's called, where he shoots like 4 different elements off, and then you see this giant warthog just stamp the ground and cause an earthquake. I just thought that was a really cool animation, too, for one of the, I guess, lower level summons of the game.
All right, bitches, Hakuna Kachana.
My goodness. You know, I'm curious why, like, that summon and, like, Hades, they didn't carry on. I haven't seen them since 7. You know what I mean? There's, like, 7 has some of the ones that are iconic, and then they have a bunch of, like, Chocomog. Like, that's an adorable little one. I want to drop a fat Chocobo on somebody every now and then.
Wasn't there a Chocobo summon, correct me if I'm wrong, Willie, back in 4?
I think so. It sounds accurate. I feel like there's a couple summons that just recur a couple of times, and then there's a couple that, like, one-shots forever. But it's like, I think there was a Chocobo summon in 4. Like, the first game of summons was 3, and 4 was the first one that integrated summoning with the plot in any way. I want to say there was a Chocobo. I definitely think 4 is where Titan came from also.
Oh, yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, I really like Titan in 7 a lot, too. Titan was, like, one of my favorites, too, because I just love the way he just, like, this big, massive, ugly dude comes out, picks up the ground underneath the enemy, and slams it over top of him. Such a fun animation.
Yeah, 4 had a lot of her lower level, Rydia's lower level summons were monster based. Like, she could summon a Chocobo, a Goblin, a Cockatrice, a Bomb, things like that.
I really enjoyed the Bahamut's.
Yeah,
and how they
cool.
evolve as you get them. Like that final Bahamut 0 one, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid just being really pleased with the evolution of them over time, how they kept getting bigger prefixes before a name, from Mega Flare to Giga Flare to Terra Flare. It's like, this is a metric 1,000 times badder ass than the last one.
I mean, think about it, dude. Like, of course we love the Bahamut, because it's like a Pokemon. It starts off at its base form, it goes to its middle evolution, then its final evolution. Hey. Except for the first version of the evolution wasn't worthless.
Yeah. And I honestly, I really like Knights of the Round as well. I think it's really cool. But also, after seeing it 2 or 3 times, I was happy to have my speed up button.
Oh, I had to have that for Bahamut 0 too. Like, as much as that's a good animation, like Hades and Bahamut 0 felt like they took forever. So I was like, times 3 speed.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, something we were talking about in the Discord just randomly while I was recording the last Let's Play of Final Fantasy VI. All of a sudden, my party just started doing whatever they want during battles, and I was like, what is going... I had apparently accidentally turned on the auto battler.
Nice.
And I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about the other... I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. And apparently there's something like that in Final Fantasy VII, although I just called it mashing circle.
That's what I ended up doing too, is mashing the whole time. But I found this thing that I accidentally found. I was like, because I pressed the right stick in, and I didn't know what it did, and I didn't want to find out, because I was like, I don't want to use anything that feels like it's cheating. But I eventually let it happen on one, and it basically just filled my limit break meter. So when I went into a fight, I had full limit.
Yeah, if it's anything like the release of 8 and I assume 9 on those, like the, not remasters, but you know what I mean, the re-releases, is you'll have the one that gives you unlimited HP and fills your limit breaks. There's the one that turns off encounters. I think you have to click both sticks in.
Okay.
And it turns off encounters, and then you have your speed up and things like that. And those are supposed to be just like, if you've played this game before, those are there to kind of help.
I will say that I was super grateful for the speed up one, because there were times where just walking, it just felt like it took forever. So just being able to press that stick down and move 3 times faster made life a little better from playing that game.
Oh, brother. I did not drive that submarine unless fucking speed up was on.
Yeah.
Because that thing moved at the speed of a fart.
Yeah.
We're grown-ass adults with shit to do. We need those speed-up buttons. Like, I'm so grateful that in all the 2D remakes, they all have the run button, even if the original game didn't have a run button, you know?
Yeah. It's like Pokemon games, when you start them now, they're like, oh, hey, by the way, here's some running shoes.
Yeah.
Instead of 6 hours into the game being like, hey, you want these fucking shoes that make you run faster? Yeah, I would have liked those a long time ago, actually. Thank you. Is there anything else in particular that jumped out at you guys before we get into like the ending type stuff?
No, I think that really covers about most of the things that I wanted to bring up.
I think it's cool that Materia had both a mechanical use and a plot use. I do kind of love when Final Fantasy games blend those things together. So like the ultimate Materias, the big black and the big white Materia, both had like very important gameplay things, even though I think the white Materia was supposed to be useless when you first hear about it, which is kind of cool. You know, it's just little shit like that.
Yeah, speaking of which, also the Materia system was actually really fun in this game. Because, like, a lot of the classic Final Fantasies, you don't really customize your characters at all. But this one, like, you can put whatever Materia on whatever character you wanted. Do we want Barret to use Chocomog, or do I want Tifa to use Chocomog? Not use Barret. So
that's a great summon Barret.
So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's a lot cleverer. I think it's a lot cleverer than the Magicite system from 6, and like I do kind of complain that the middle Final Fantasy games like 6 through 8 really all the characters are basically the same because you can customize them so much. But like I do think that 7 may have had the best method of customizing. Like I feel like every choice felt important, and you could do cool combinations that were not immediately obvious. Like I wouldn't have thought of the mix you said with Hades, so you could attack Hades with
that's awesome.
And, you know, that's a really cool combo.
Yeah. I did like the different combinations that you could put together, for sure. Speaking of materia, Wu-Tai Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. And when you go into Wu-Tai, if you have Yuffie in your party, I'm curious if you go there without her, if this just doesn't happen, or if she just shows up and steals your shit, because Yuffie just steals all your materia that you have equipped, and then runs off, and you have to go through a bunch of little side quest things that I 100% used the guide for.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I used a guide in 3 times speed.
The track.
I would say that qualifies as rigmarole for sure.
Now, Nate, did you ever go back and do the battle tower?
No, I wasn't too interested in getting Yuffie's final weapon. I think there was some materia there for Hydra. Was that not Hydra, but
Leviathan?
Yeah, same kind of thing. But no, I was just like, I can live without Leviathan.
I loved Leviathan in 8, but I didn't use it once in 7. Not when I had Bahamut. There was no point in using it.
Yeah, so I kind of just left that whole area alone after that. Because like, the one thing that I wanted to make sure I did this time was not give myself a chance to get sick of playing it like I'd done in the past with 7. So like, I just did the things that I wanted to do in 7 this time.
That's fair. Well, then I'll tell you, the final boss of that tower is Yuffie's dad. And
does Yuffie's dad have it going on?
He fucking laid some work in on me. Like, he hit pretty hard.
Yuffie's dad has got me down bad.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, other than that, like, I'm trying to think of some more little side quest things that I did. I couldn't find an island that was good to level on like in 8, so that was a bummer. I had to go underwater.
8 had, what were they called? The Island Close to Heaven and Island Close to Hell. That's such a cool name. Like, the fact that I still remember it all these years later. I love little shit like that.
Absolutely, dude. There was the Chocobo Sage. You go up and talk to him, and he just looks like this really weird... I don't know how to explain it. He's not a humanoid at all. And he just looks like this weird monster. He's like, yeah, I'm the Chocobo Sage. And you could buy, like, in order to mate a gold Chocobo, like, he sells you the nuts and the greens that you need for that. But other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of, like,
it's like Dalton's
side quests
that are right there, nuts and greens.
Yeah, you know me, dude. Fucking love me some nuts and greens. Collard greens, turnip greens, boiled peanuts, macadamia nuts. I love them all.
I could go for some mustard greens right now, honestly. That sounds pretty
good.
Dude,
take it with a little bit of that pepper vinegar on there. That's some good shit. You people up north just don't know.
Put a little too much pork in that shit.
Yes. Yes, ham and bacon. Yes.
Bacon fat, yeah, bacon fat. So, damn, now you got me hungry.
So that basically leads us to the northern cave. And this is where, like, I felt bad because I kept talking to the little black hooded folks. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was earlier in the game. But still, whenever you're going through that area and all the hooded figures meeting Sephiroth are there and they keep falling over.
Yeah.
I would go up and talk to them, and then they would disappear. I was like, I felt bad. I was like, oh, well, I don't want to leave their body here. I guess I'll clean them up. I just went around talking to all of them, make sure they were all gone. They had all moved on. I felt like Yuna.
Welcome to the live stream's funniest home videos.
Doing the sending from 10.
Oh, yeah.
But the North Cave itself, like, it was pretty cool, but, like, I swear the monsters there had, like, the tiniest dick energy in the world. Like, the only thing that made those monsters in that cave slightly threatening to me was the fact they all had instant death moves. Like, if they didn't have that, they would have been nothing.
Yeah, I hate instant death moves.
It's just cheap. It's not a cool or fun mechanic. It's just like, oh, great, now I have to use one of my 99 Phoenix Downs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even like when my characters have like Doom mechanics or the one-hit kill things unless it
fucking never works.
Exactly. It's like it always says miss or whatever. But also, I don't know. On the same vein, I like throwing a Phoenix down at an undead enemy every now and then. Like there's something satisfying about that. But interestingly enough, Nate, did you? I know you had some issues with crashing, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little more. But did you use the save crystal? So like in the Northern Cave, it's the first time that you see you get an item and it's a save crystal. Yeah. And you can use it and it'll put a save point down. So,
I did not use it at all. Does the save point stay where you put it?
Yeah.
Like you just continually use it?
Yeah, you can just run back and use it wherever you put it down. But like, oh no, you like once you set it down, it's there.
That's what I meant. Like it's just
a
permanent
you can keep
save
running
point
back
at
to
that
it.
point. Because I didn't want to use it and not be able to come back to it, so I just never used it.
So probably good because you can use the save point anywhere in the Northern Cave, but be very careful using it as there are a host of glitches and errors that can be caused if you use it in the wrong location that would ruin your entire game.
Oh, yikes.
That blew my mind because I dropped it right where I got it. Like I got it out of the chest and then I dropped it there and saved it.
See, I didn't use it because I decided when I went into the Northern Cave that I was done. I was going to beat the game once I went into the Northern Cave.
I think I saved it and went to go like make food and stuff. But so one thing I've been meaning to look up is one of the skill materia names that you get, one of the enemy skill materias, and you get it in this dungeon from the dragons. It's called Dragon Force. And I'm like, I wonder if that's where they got their name, because like they're huge nerds.
Through Faraga and flames we carry on.
I mean, he does say fire and the flames, but it does sound like fire the flames. Yeah. We'll carry on. It's good shit. I like Dragon Force. People shit on those guys, but I like them a lot.
My Final Fantasy, the spirits within will go on.
End of the show. Can't top that. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
it's over.
Look up
for free
where they got their name from. But yeah, there's a certain point in this where you have to split your party into, is it 3?
Yeah.
Was it like a party of 3, and a party of 2?
Yeah.
I guess technically, if you didn't get the extra characters, then that would just be 2 parties of 3. Mm-hmm. So, okay, that makes sense.
Huh.
That just hit me now. But I'm like,
I never thought about that until this moment.
Can you imagine playing Final Fantasy VII and not getting the 2 hidden characters? I mean, that just seems like something you do. Yeah.
That's weird, yeah. It's like Final Fantasy VI, you know? There's 16 characters. If you don't have all 16, you're screwed up.
There's 16 characters in Final Fantasy VI?
You just terrified Dalton.
Man, I had a hard enough to... I don't even have Shadow all the time. Like, I got him once, and he's fucked off ever since and hasn't come back, so...
He does that. He went out for cigarettes. He'll be back.
And I do have a question for you guys about Final Fantasy VI while we're on the subject. Why the fuck did I go out of my way to get Gao?
Because he likes jumping on people. It's funny.
Dude, he has not done anything that has impressed me yet. Not one thing. I haven't even barely used him because of it. I've been using Cyan, Edgar, and Sabin.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember the voices. I gave Edgar a voice like this. I made Cyan a Frenchman for some reason, and I would
have made Cyan Inigo Montoya if I were you.
Yeah, that's what Inigo I was thinking Montoya, too.
I prepare to die.
My name is Cyan. You kill literally fucking everybody.
I don't know why I made Edgar, like proper British. I'm talking like this. And then I've got like Sabin.
Jason Statham.
Sabin talks more like
Jason
this. He's like,
Statham.
all right. Jason Sabin.
Jason Sabin! You did it, dude.
Sorry, I'm scrolling to see if I could see where Dragon Force's names came from, but
Yeah, I will say I'm glad I did not use that save point though, because like I had a lot of issues with crashing. Like there were times where Dalton and Willie can attest to this. I would just put a string of expletives in our group chat because my Switch had decided to shit the bed and crash again, and causing me to lose 45 minutes to an hour of saves. Like one time I was grinding levels and hadn't saved for a long time. I think I lost like 8 levels with Cloud during that time period, and I was just so furious at my stupid Switch. Like it crashed about, and this is no fault of Final Fantasy VII. I think I blame the Switch port of Final Fantasy VII. It had to have crashed at least 7 times on me.
woo!
It's no good.
That's brutal.
And I was always worried that it was going to happen again.
I only had the one crash on PC, and I'm still not sure what the hell caused that. And I'm very interested in like what would cause it to crash on Switch. I've never heard of anything crashing on Switch.
No idea.
Yeah,
It would just get stuck in a loop. Like it would go to a screen. It would like play whatever sound had last played on loop. Last 3 seconds of sound on loop, and just would not move from there. And it was usually at the end of a battle. It was usually victory music.
Was it one of the situations where you had to restart your Switch completely, or could you just exit out and close the game?
I could close the game.
Oh, okay, so at least
So it
No,
didn't
just
hardlock the
didn't hardlock the
system.
system. It just completely locked up the game.
very strange. It's very strange. And just quickly, it looks like Dragon Force basically based their name on the game for Sega Saturn called Dragon Force.
What a bunch of nerds.
Okay.
Wrong 32-bit video game, idiot. Don't you feel stupid now?
I do, stupid monkey. So yeah, the final battle, gentlemen. So Nate, you said that. Which one was it that gave you a hard time?
Well, actually, I think the funniest part was I went into the first battle with Genova photosynthesis, whatever.
Rebirth?
It might have been Rebirth.
Rebirth?
The first fight is a fight against Genova that you fight.
Genova.
And I was so scared going into it because I had switched party members right before going to the fight because I'm going to take them boys to the end of the game. It's going to be Cloud, Sid, and Barrett take down Sephiroth. And so I go into the first,
boys.
I leave the screen, and it's like, wait, my materia is still on Yuffie and Tifa. So, I am shaking in my boots going into this fight. It's like, well, I'm sure I can make it through the first one. Let's just hope things get better from there. I was real worried about the Sephiroths after that. So I was like, let's go into the fight with Genova. So I beat it with my crappy materia, because thank you, Cloud, for being a gentleman with good materia. And I was like, and then the funniest part about this is I was expressing all this in the group chat, and Dalton was like, good luck, man. I think you got this. You're going to be all right. And I get to the next screen after beating this Genova boss, and it's like, make 3 parties. And I realized I could put my materia on any character at that point. So Dalton just hard trolled me into believing that I was going to have to fight all 3 Sephiroths with my garbage materia.
I didn't troll you. I was just letting you find out on your own. It was like that Christopher Titus joke where he's talking about, he's like, where your son's going, he's got like a fork and he's going towards the outlet, and your wife goes to stop him, and you just go, wait a minute, just wait. No, you never do that again now, will you? It's like, it was one of those situations I was like, he's going to be real worried, and then it's going to be that wash of relief.
Yeah.
I don't want to take that away from you.
Yeah, it was that wash of relief, and then the immediate, oh god, everything still sucks when I was fighting Bizarro Sephiroth. Because the first couple things, you can take out, if you have 5 parts or whatever, and I know it's different depending on a few different things, like what level you're at, how many party members that you actually have, if you've gotten the secret characters or not. But you were able to switch between your parties during the fight. And it just added more pain to it than it needed to. Because I'd accidentally switched parties right before almost defeating him one time.
Ooh.
And like, you know how he heals himself repeatedly. So it took me a while to figure out that I just had to basically throw everything at him, heal really quick, and throw everything at him again before he could fully heal himself. So like, all in all, the boss gauntlet at the end, I think took me about an hour to an hour and a half, somewhere in that range. And 95% of it was Bizarro Sephiroth.
Man, I don't remember. Well, I was a lot higher level.
Were you max 99, like 99? Everybody?
Yeah, not everybody. But my main three, Tifa, Barrett, and Cloud, were 99, and everybody else was like high 70s, 80s. Yeah. But I still had issues with his healing himself. You know what I mean? It really got to the point where Knights of the Round and Cloud's Omnislash and Barrett's Limit Break really came in, like the Limit Breaks came in handy.
I was honestly really worried that I was going to run out of summons to take it out because like everything was getting rough. I finally ended up having to use a Mega Elixir for the first time ever in that fight.
Man, you know what? I remember when I first was like, oh man, I had like 6 Mega Elixirs.
That's how many I had, I think, at the end of the game.
And I was like, all right, I'll use one of these to heal Cloud. And then it was like, this is going to heal everyone. I said, oh, that's right. And yeah, they fucking came in handy there at the end for sure.
Team never spend elixirs until you get to the final boss present.
Yeah. Because like, they're so handy.
Finally.
Elixir from your head to your toes.
So finally that boss goes down. And you just get to go into that. Okay, here's the truth about Final Fantasy VII. I don't think Final Fantasy VII has great music. I don't think it has great sound design. But that moment going from Bizarro Sephiroth to Safer Sephiroth, the final form of Sephiroth, when One Winged Angel kicks in, like, that is one of the best music moments in the entire series from a game I don't think had great music or sound design.
I got goosebumps. Yeah, like that, just like, I put that right up there with hearing Libra Fatale in 8. When you first hear that, there's something about choir singing. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first vocal song in the... I mean, you could count the opera song from Final Fantasy VI, which also a lot of people consider a crown jewel in the game's series music. But this is the first time that they actually had vocal samples in a Final Fantasy song, and it just... They had that restraint that they waited till the very end to do that.
And it was a really cool boss fight. It wasn't anywhere near as long or hard as the Bizarro Sephiroth, in my opinion.
Or my dick.
Huh?
I said, or my dick.
Or that.
The one-winged angel.
The one-eyed angel.
Oh, that's good too.
And so, but like the build up to it and the music and everything, it left an atmosphere that was final boss worthy. And I think it didn't overstay its welcome like Bizarro did, so that you can fully appreciate everything that Safer Sephiroth is.
Yeah, because that's basically, you go into that battle and the game's like, okay, use Omnislash. And you use Omnislash and he's just toast.
Well, no, that the One Winged Angel.
Or is that
after that? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's something about the combination of like the extremely sinister Latin music that takes like hints from Stravinsky and stuff, like that weird, very jarring sound, and then the absolutely placid expression on Sephiroth. Like, he is absolutely calm. He isn't even mad. He's just here to destroy. He's a force of nature. There's something about that that's such a cool like contrast.
They call that, like, was it cold and calculated? Like, he's just...
Yeah.
He is a murderer.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, like, I feel like that boss fight, like, once you finally win, is like that went down so much faster and smoother than the boss fight before it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
although I will say he did turn Sid into a frog.
Did you have any princess kisses or whatever the fuck they were called?
It's like 3 maiden's kisses in my inventory. So.
You know what was funny is when I was playing and I got hit with frog, I was like, I wonder what gets rid of this. And I was looking through the items and I went, oh, well, surely it's got to be Maiden's Kiss. Like, just, it has, and it was. And I was like, okay, I would have been mad if it wasn't. If it had been like Maiden's Kiss cures sadness or something, I'd have been like, get that fuck out of here.
No, caffeine cures sadness.
Yeah, you take some speed, you'll feel better. But no, dude, yeah, that just, you know me in music, and I fucking love One Wing Angel. Like, even, you know, before we played this, not really having any opinions up or down about Final Fantasy VII, other than I figured it was overrated. Not One Winged Angel. That song fucking rules. Yeah. And now being able to see it in context, I see why it's stuck with so many people. Because when that song kicks in, and then and obviously I was using mods, so my Sephiroth probably looked a little better. But still, you know, he's just standing there with that long ass Masamune, and he's just like, I'm here to fuck shit up and chew bubblegum, and there's no bubblegum in this universe.
I wanted to talk about the music a little bit more too, though, because you said you think this is one of the weaker installments, and I do generally agree that there's a lot of repeated stuff that doesn't quite work. I also think the leitmotif from the song Genova works really well.
Oh, thank you, man.
Like, that's the one that has the really slow plotting.
I think there's a few songs that are good. Like, don't get me wrong. But overall, in the scheme of Final Fantasy, like, if you're going from Final Fantasy IV, Final Fantasy VI, it doesn't stack up to either one of those two games. I will say that the music stands out to me is, like you said, that theme, Aerith theme, and I do think it has really good standard battle music. Like, the regular battle music is really good in 7.
Yeah. Battle music's good. The boss music sounds a little bit too much like For Whom the Bell Tolls. I do think that also, this sucks to say, but this is one of the weaker Chocobo themes. Like, it's just jockeying Take 5 by Brubeck. Like, it literally just uses that beat and plays some Chocobo music over top of it. Like, I much prefer the FFH
Surf Rock one was so good. I forgot about that until you just brought it up.
Yeah, it's got that little wipeout at the start of it.
Oh, I love the Chocobo song. Like,
it's a great, like, you can just do the rhythm of the Chocobo song, just do the rhythm of the melody, and people will be able to identify it without you even humming the actual notes. Like, if you just go do 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 do, like that's it. That's a Chocobo song
for sure. And it's been like that ever since, even like back before I got super into 8 on E-Bomb's World. That little flash video that was just like, Final Fantasy is
Final Fantasy is my favorite game
that I will ever play. All other games are lame. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god. I can't believe anyone else.
So anytime I hear a Chocobo song, I am singing that in my head while I'm riding around. And it's wonderful. It's a wave of nostalgia every time.
Yeah.
The only time that I got tired of the Chocobo song was in Final Fantasy XIV, and that's because you mount to run around so much, and every time you get on your Chocobo, the music would stop for the thing, and it would start the Chocobo music. And it really got annoying after, 1,000 hours of hearing it. So I'm
gonna install a car radio on my Chocobo so I can listen to The Boys Are Back in Town.
But there is a song, there's a mount theme in Final Fantasy XIV that I'm going to send to you guys, because talking about good Final Fantasy music, it's really quite good. Cool. And one of the things in 15, whenever we get to that, is around the game in different shops, they sell soundtracks for different Final Fantasy games.
Nice.
So like, I have the 8 soundtrack in my car, so I'm riding around listening to like Eidos Utes or Balam Garden. Dude, there's nothing calmer than just driving down the road with your buds and you're just listening to that doon 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 doon. It's just so calm.
I like that the Fisherman's Horizon theme from FF8. I hope
the whole soundtrack. It's the whole soundtrack.
Just a really chill little finger pick.
Yeah,
song.
it's literally like the entire OST. Like, you can get for like, I think all of the mainline Final Fantasy games and the spin-offs like that are just in 15. It's great.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool. So that's the end of the game. You beat Sephiroth, and then you get your long ending cutscenes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, which like I said, it's been a week and a half. The only thing that I can remember about the final cutscene is that final image where it shows like a Red 13-esque creature. Because I don't think it was him, because it was like 600 years later or something.
I think it was 60 years later. No, maybe you're right. I don't remember how many it was either. But I was like, who did Red 13 have kids with? He was the last of his species, correct? How did Red 13 have children?
Nature finds a way. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if maybe that's a good fucking question, because he definitely, like, one of those creatures comes running up with 2 more little ones. Yeah. And then it does, and the reason I think it's more than 60 years is because it does that pan up of Midgar, and Midgar is covered in forestation.
You're right.
Like, it is no longer a city. So then I'm like, wonder what's going on there. And couple of things that I had marked down here. Where are my notes? Oh, okay. So there's an Easter egg in Final Fantasy X that has to do with Final Fantasy VII. So I think it might be in 10-2. It's in one of those though, but I believe it's in 10-2. You towards the end of the game, you're on an Al Bhed, like the airship thing, and you talk to one of these kids, and he says that he's looking into studying this thing called the life force, and how it's like the power of the planet itself, and how one day they're hoping to be able to harness this life force and use it to power cities and things like that. And the girls are like, oh, that sounds really cool, man. That would be a really cool thing and everything. And then they're like, what's your name? And he's like, my name's Shinra. So it's like, oh, okay, so this kid's probably the one that went on and started Shinra, which then becomes what it is in 7.
Yeah, and I think I'd heard that somewhere that was almost like confirmed to be kind of the case for like an article with one of the directors of one of the Final Fantasy games. I don't know how true that is because I don't want to say that it's definitely true, but I think that's almost canon at this point.
It would kind of make sense for 7 and 10 to be connected too, because both of them are like games that have a strong theme about like the afterlife in nature.
Yeah,
you know.
I have a question for you too, because this is going to what I want to bring up is going to highly depend on whether you two have any interest in this. Do either of you have any interest in playing Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I have a lot more interest than I did 4 weeks ago.
Okay, then I won't talk about what I was going to bring up. But there's some interesting shit that happens in that like, I'll just say like flips a coin in a sense. And because I was watching Outside Xbox, and they were like, beware spoilers for the following games, and one of them was Final Fantasy VII Remake. And once they started talking about it, I was so intrigued by what they were talking about that I just let the spoiler happen. And I was like, whoa. And it didn't make me want to play the game any less. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, I want to see how it happens, but I'm just very much like, color me intrigued as to this next game that's coming out.
Gotcha.
2 hours into the game, Jesse kills Sephiroth.
That would be fantastic. So thoughts, feelings, any final things before we give this game like a rating and all of that jizzazz?
Anything but that. No, I think I'm good to dive into ratings, man.
All right. Willie, if you want to rate this first, because I know like from your memories back in the day and what you feel like you took away from our conversation.
Nah, I'm good. I give it a holy materia out of huge materia.
That's fair.
I'm not going to put a number on it.
That's fair. Nate, what about you, man?
Yeah, surprisingly not a 4 out of 10. No, I really enjoyed playing the game this time. I got a lot out of it. I really enjoyed the story, and the characters all had a way more personality than I would have ever remembered them having had not playing it again. Going through the way I did and just concentrating on doing the things I wanted to do instead of trying to go full completion on it in the year 2022 felt really good as well. The one thing that, like I said, it's really great. It has a lot of good points to it. I do think that by Final Fantasy standards, the sound design and music isn't fantastic other than your hits here and there. All in all, I think this game really held up way better than I expected it to, and I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
I concur. I did not think that I was going to go in liking this as much as I did, thinking, for assuming all those years that like, oh man, 7's fucking overrated. Like Emmett and his brother wouldn't shut the fuck up about it when I was younger. The internet won't shut the fuck up about it. Oh God, fuck Final Fantasy VII is what I felt like for a while. You know what I mean? And now sitting down and playing it, like I can see why this was such a big deal when it released.
Yeah.
It still may not be my favorite Final Fantasy game, but I respect this game and I'm glad it exists, because I'm sure if Final Fantasy VII would have bombed, we'd have never gotten 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I really feel like it was at a make or break time for the series, because it was the transition to fully 3D. And if it had done poorly, who knows if we would have continued the series. So,
Yeah. So I am also going to give it an 8.5. I give it a 8.5 materia out of 10 Tifa's boobies.
So you have 10 of those now. Wow.
Yeah. A bunch of they are a 10. Yes.
Isn't it a little frustrating when something does turn out to be about as good as everyone says it is? Like, you feel like you look about as mad as I did the first time I listened to OK Computer, and I'm like, shit, this album actually does roll, and I should have listened to it 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was very surprising to me. But it's also like a happy surprise that we didn't hate life last month to get through it.
True that.
Yeah.
I feel like if this game sucked, it would have almost been funnier to suffer through. Nate would have been like just constantly shitting on it every time we look at the messages. Like, we would have found fun, but I'm glad that we didn't have to find it. I'm glad that the fun was actually in the video game.
For sure. And to wrap us up here, I have a little list that we're going to run through, and because it has to do with Final Fantasy and 7 in a way, the 10 Final Fantasy side characters with more interesting backstories than Sephiroth. All right. Now, these have quick descriptions for each of them, so this should run relatively quickly. Number 10 is from Final Fantasy XV, and it's Cindy Aurum. Now, Cindy is a happy-go-lucky mechanic that Noctis and company meet on their first mission outside of Insomnia. She's the granddaughter of Cid, Sophia, whatever his name is, owner of the Hammerhead service station, and although she's an orphan working in a daemon-overrun wasteland, she's endlessly upbeat. And might I say, she's also not bad to look at. Cindy's parents were killed by daemons while they drove at night, and as Cid explains to Noctis, and Cindy later tells a story of seeing a car being overrun by daemons at age 6, and she'll never forget it. She doesn't confirm it, but the rare emotion in her voice during that scene makes it seem like Cindy was recounting witnessing her parents' death. Number 9, Final Fantasy VII. Number 9. Shira.
Yeah, Shira ruled, dude.
Shira. Wow, yeah.
Shira is the partner of pilot Cid Highwind and an engineer on Shinra number 26 rocket. When Cid discovered that she was still in the engine room checking a faulty oxygen tank, he was forced to abort the launch or risk burning her up. As a result, the Shinra space program was canceled, destroying his dreams of traveling to space. But Shira's story is one of those original Final Fantasy VII moments that has proven controversial with fans. She is endlessly berated by Cid for having ruined his dreams, with her pesky insistence on existing and doing her job properly. Shira should have up and left him, but she's later confirmed as his wife in Final Fantasy VII follow-up game Dirge of Cerberus. Shira deserves better and is a quietly tragic character in this game.
Yeah, and the fact that she, like, her worries were proven correct when you finally did get into space, and she tagged along with you, and the thing exploded.
Yeah, and almost kills Cid.
Yeah, so she was right the whole time as well.
Number 8 from Final Fantasy VIII, Julia Hartley.
Oh, that Rhino's mom?
I believe so, because it's the chick, the singer that Laguna falls in love with.
The singer, that's right. It's implied. I don't think it ever says it, but the name is.
Yeah, it always like came out to me that I feel like that Laguna and her were Renoa's parents. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the
Final Fantasy VIII's Julia Hartley is a pianist and singer, and the mother of Renoa Hartley. There you go.
Oh, okay. Wait, then what's General Caraway? Isn't he also Renoa's dad?
Oh, you know what? You're right. Then maybe it was a thing where the general moved in after Laguna, quote unquote, died.
Oh, maybe.
Because then he ended up in the little town, and he ended up with Rain. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, she appears as the object of Laguna Lori's. Is it Lori? I always said Lori.
I think it's Loire.
Loire.
Yeah, it's like Frenchish.
Laguna Loire's affection when he visits the Galabanian hotel bar to watch her play. Although Julia and Laguna express their mutual feelings for one another, he's called away to war before their relationship fully develops. I guess we should have just read on, really. She says she will wait for him, but sadly Julia never sees Laguna again. She marries General Caraway of the Galabanian army and gives birth to Renoa.
Good job, squad.
Welcome to Dalton and Willie Remember Things That Are About to Be Said.
And Julia never gets to see her daughter grow up, though, tragically dying in a car accident when Renoa was just 5. Number 7 is from Final Fantasy X, and it's Chapu, which I think is the dead brother of Wakka. Chapu is Wakka's younger brother, and he only appears briefly in Final Fantasy X and X-2. Upbeat young man dedicated to fighting sin using Forbidden Machina. Although Ten-2, Wakka, and Lulu are married and expecting a child, Lulu was originally Chapu's fiance.
Isn't that why Wakka's like so anti-Machina?
I believe so. It's because it killed his brother.
Damn, these games had stories.
Wow. That's why people like
he
them
joined
for that.
Right. Huh. He joined the Crusaders to protect Lulu, but ended up dying tragically young, killed by Sin during Operation Mihen. He leaves behind a video sphere, which people familiar with 10 will know what that is, pleading with Wakka to stop berating him and asking him to just be his brother. A sphere that Wakka only finds after Chapu's death. Number 6, one that I completely agree with, and I think that he should be higher on this damn list, is from Final Fantasy XII, and is Balthier. So, this cocky, well-dressed sky pirate is fond of proclaiming his status as Final Fantasy XII's leading man. Balthier's real identity is Arcadian noble named Famran Mid Bunansa.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Famran is the son of...
Yeah, family-run bonanza. Let's go.
Famran is the son of Sidolphus Demon Bunansa, a.k.a. Dr. Sid, the Arcadian Empire's resident scientific genius. As Famran, he was such an asset to the Arcadian army that he was promoted to the high-ranking army status of judge at the tender age of 16. As Dr. Sid began to use his power in unethical ways, however, Balthier eventually cut off all ties with his father and deserted the army, opting to live as an outlaw with a bounty on his head. That's why I call him the Han Solo of that game. He never reconciles with his estranged father and is eventually forced to kill his father. So,
getting some Setzer vibes off of that.
Setzer?
From Final Fantasy
I
VI.
just met that guy. He's the guy with the ship, right? Yeah, I just met that guy.
He's also kind of a larger than life, braggadocious airship related.
Absolutely. The next one, I feel like this should be number 1, so I'm really, really interested to see what number 1 is. Number 5 is from Final Fantasy IX, and it's Vivi.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. That's what I thought was going to be number 1 all along, actually.
Vivi is one of the most beloved characters in all of Final Fantasy. Vivi starts off in Final Fantasy IX with low self-confidence in his abilities as a mage, but along his journey through the game, he discovers his hidden inner strength. Vivi begins life as a prototype of a manufactured black mage doll. While being transported to Alexandria for use in Queen Braun's army, he falls out of a cargo ship. Vivi is then discovered by a coup named Quan, who takes him under his wing. Little does Vivi know that Quan is actually raising him to be eaten, only abandoning that plan when Vivi refuses to grow any bigger. Even the care of his dubious, quote-unquote, grandpa is lost when Quan dies, leaving Vivi to fend for himself.
I loved Vivi. I mean, I feel like the adoptive big brother relationship Zidane has with him is one of the most fun dynamics in games. And I also love the mechanical relationship he has with Steiner, where they have like the sword enchant moves, you know? Like Vivi really
And correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Steiner end up becoming really protective of Vivi?
Steiner's really protective of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really
I love Steiner. Yeah, from what I've played of 9, I think I played like some of the first disc. Like Steiner cracked me.
He's the best. Yeah, I love Steiner.
He's a himbo. He's a dumbass with a heart of gold.
A himbo. That's fantastic. Number 4 from Final Fantasy 15, Prompto Argentum. Or Argentum. I don't know. I guess that would be. Prompto is one of Noctis's guards and companions.
That's a Harry Potter spell right there, man. Prompto Argentum.
You're not wrong. He joins on the group's quest-filled road trip across Eos. He was originally a clone of an Imperial Magitech engineer created to be a part of an army of clones used in the war against Lucas. However, he was kidnapped as a baby and raised by the Lucian family. He has a barcode tattooed on his wrist as proof of his clone status, which he covers with a leather wristband. Prompto expresses to Noctis that he feels inferior to the rest of the group due to his history. This heartbreaking part of the revelation is that when comes after Noctis himself, mistakenly believing he's pursuing an enemy, attacks, belittles, and nearly kills Prompto, feeding into his inferiority complex. Number 3, from Final Fantasy VIII, Rain Lori. Rain is Laguna Lori's wife and second love interest. They covered all of our bases in this list, as well as the mother of Squall Leonhart. What? I don't remember that.
So that's what I was thinking the whole time, was that Laguna was Squall's dad.
Oh, damn it.
I need to play 8 again. Steam Machine replays. Coming up of 8. She meets Laguna when the latter is transported to her village of Windhill after being injured in the Sorceress War. She nurses him back to health, and the two fall in love. Rain becomes pregnant with Squall before she can tell Laguna their adopted daughter Elone is kidnapped. Laguna goes after her, and while he's away, Rain dies. Both Elone and Squall are sent to be raised in an orphanage, and Laguna returns to Windhill only to visit Rain's grave. Squall never explicitly acknowledges Rain as his mother in the game, a tragically missed opportunity for both of them. Hashtag Final Fantasy VIII Remake win. Damn it.
Damn, there's a lot of story in this game.
Number 2, Final Fantasy X-2, Linné and Shuyin. Linné and Shuyin both lived in Zanarkand 1,000 years before the engrossing beginning events of Final Fantasy X. During the Machina...
Oh, is that the one that looks like Tidus?
From the screenshot, it absolutely looks like Tidus and Yuna standing there, yeah.
It's like they're...
During the Machina War that led to the destruction of Zanarkand by Bavel, Linné was a popular singer and summoner, and Shuyin was her lover. As Zanarkand started to fall, all summoners were called to the front lines, including Linné. In a desperate attempt to save his lover, Shuyin snuck into the tunnels beneath Bavel and activated their ultimate weapon, Vagnagun? Yeah. Before he could use it, Linné appeared in front of him to stop him. Knowing Venegun could not be controlled, the two lovers embraced as Bavel soldiers finally caught up to them, opened fire, and killed them both. That's fucking heartbreaking. So, before we get to number 1, you guys want to take any guesses at who would have the most interesting, the side character that has the most interesting backstory?
Tella, because like if you're gonna include Vivi on this list, I feel like Tella from 4 would also stand a chance of being on this list.
Okay.
Maybe Marlene. Like, what is she up to when you're not around her? You know.
Well, I'll say that Willie is closer because number 1 is Dyne from Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Dyne is the ever-entertaining Barrett Wallace's best friend. Barrett's last name is Wallace? I didn't realize that. Yeah. Best friend from Coral and Marlene's father. When the Shinra Company comes to...
They all got last names. Quiz me, baby. I got it. Vincent Valentine, Yuffie Kisaragi, Cloud Strife,
Lockhart.
Tifa, Lockhart, Red 13, Kate Sith,
Kaishi.
Kaishi. Yeah, whatever. Barrett Wallace. Is there anyone else?
You did.
I'm leaving out. Did I say Vincent?
You didn't say Cloud
What's Aerith's last name?
Aerith
Gainsborough.
Gainsborough.
Gainsborough, Florida. But yeah, I mean, I think we talked about Dyne some in the last episode, but you know, he that could be a cool thing that get fleshed out as the story between Barrett and Dyne. Surprised that they didn't make that into like a mobile game that you could pay $10,000 for in Gacha.
Zach Fair, Sephiroth
Hojo. Oh my goodness. Well, gentlemen, that about does it. That means that we're going to get into the house cleaning. But before we do that, we have some fan questions. And the next pick is yours, Sir Nate. So which one would you like to do first? Would you like to do the fan questions? Or would you like to give your pick?
Why don't we run through these fan questions real quick? Starting out, we have a fan question from our dear friend Adam. Adam asks, Cloud or Zack?
Oh, so... I've never played Crisis Core, but in a game, if I have a choice between two characters and they look relatively similar, but one of them is more buff and has black hair and not blonde hair, I'm gonna pick them. I don't know why, it's the goth in me. I'm going the black hair, so I'm gonna pick Zack.
I'm gonna pick.
Ain't nothing but the goth.
I'm gonna pick Cloud because he is Super Saiyan Zack.
Oh. Got him.
That's fair.
I'm not going to vote, so it's tie.
All right. Well, question 2 comes in from Wolfbetter. Tifa or Aerith? Who's the best girl to you?
Tifa. I'm not into necrophilia.
Damn. But you got a stamp hole.
Why? I'm also going Tifa just because of her personality and...
I'm gonna buck the trend. I do love the childhood friend thing. That was really cool, and I do appreciate that. But I don't know, Aerith. I just enjoyed her. She seemed really pleasant and fun and positive.
What? No love for Yuffie?
Around. Maybe too much energy on Yuffie. But also, Tifa probably could have said something and got the plot moving along a little earlier.
Yuffie would tell you she's into kinky shit, she would tie you to the bed and rob you.
That's absolutely true.
I'm starting to see Team Mutant now, actually. I respect the hustle.
I picture you laying there and Barrett coming in and being like, just a bunch of characters. Just Cloud, goddammit.
You're just laying there and all the dudes from the Honeybee Inn come strolling in.
Oh, man. All right. This one is from Brian414. Does anyone else's backlog give them crippling anxiety when they are picking out a game to pick up and play? Yes. That is just the answer to the question. Yes.
That is the premise of this show.
Yeah, very much so. That is exactly the premise of this show. Because it was like, I don't know what to pick.
My backlog is nowhere near as big as Dalton's, and I still struggle every time I look at it. I'm like, I struggle coming up with a host pick because I have so many games that I could choose from.
Yeah, it's. Right? I very much will use the randomizer that I use to set up the fan poll to pick something for me to randomly just try. Especially now, because I'll be looking through Steam and be like, man, nothing really looks good here, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I can look through Epic and GOG too. So then I go and look at it, and I just get paralyzed with more choices.
There's so many in there. I just okay, looks like I'm playing Doom later.
I do like that on Steam in your little homepage or whatever, you can set up your little bars and stuff. And I have them a couple of them set up RPGs rated by their Metacritic score and things like that. But the one that I have is just play next, and it's just Steam recommending something in your library for you to play next. And I'll look at that list and be like,
no.
Sometimes, let me tell you something. Since they made that a thing, there's been one game that's been on there every time I look at it, and that is Fable Anniversary. Mm. My Steam is like, dude, fucking play Fable.
Dude, mine's been the exact same way with Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's like, you own this game, buddy. Why don't you play it? I
bought that game specifically because I read that on PC you can put in your own music, and I was like, I want to play Crypt of the Necrodancer with my music in it. Nice. I think that would be fun, so I might have to do that sometime.
Yeah. Psycho Mantis,
yeah.
Baby.
Which, speaking of, I'm going to know more about this later this week. Actually, as this comes out on Thursday, this will be out, so come join our Discord and check it out. But one of my songs is getting featured in a game. A buddy of mine named Tom. You've heard me talk about Codapill. He is Codapill.
Yeah.
Which I would actually like to do some of his games for the show sometime soon, because they're relatively short, and one's free and one's $2. So... but anyway, this new game that he's got coming out, which we could add to the list, was a game jam game that he did. And my song got the honor of being the final boss theme. So I really look forward to checking that out, because I'm going to get goosebumps. I'm sitting there and hear my shit come on when I'm going into a fight. And
that's awesome.
But yeah, anyways, to answer the question, like Nate said, the answer to this question is easily yes.
All right, so we have another one from Brian414. Were there any rumors you believed about Final Fantasy VII as a kid, playing this back in the day without being able to look it up online? Yes. So I remember when I was I guess it had to be middle school or somewhere around there.
Sounds right.
Yeah,
Sounds late
my best friend at the time came over and convinced me that if you collected 35 of the 135th, that number might be wrong, soldiers from the Gold Saucer, and did something else with it, I can't remember, you could unlock Sephiroth as a playable character in your party. So it took a very long time to get all 35 of those 135th soldiers, and then nothing happened.
Oh, I can make the story worse, because I remember one detail you've left out. So if you remember the description of 135th Soldier, it says that it is a 135th model of a soldier, collect all 12. So first he told us to get 12. We picked up 12, nothing happened, and we kept going for 35.
Ouch.
So there's reasons I hate the Gold Saucer.
Trauma Revisited.
Yeah, that explains a little more. That fills in the details a little. Being that I didn't have Final Fantasy VII as a kid, I don't have one for this question, but I will give you something that I did have. And that was if you put in this code, Lara Croft will be naked in Tomb Raider 2. And all that code did was blow you the fuck up.
Nice.
Just exploded Laura into a bunch of pieces. And yeah, so...
That's one of those late 90s rumors. It's up there with the Triforce and Ocarina of Time, play as Luigi in Mario 64, the Mew underneath the truck behind the SS Anne in Pokemon. Like, absolutely legendary playground rumor shit.
All right. We have one final question from our good friend over at Yabs Pod, the one, the only, Jeremy. Who is your least favorite Final Fantasy character?
I feel like the easy answer is Kate Sith, right? I'm really leaning towards Gao, though. Because I just don't know if I just haven't gotten his full potential yet or what, but woo!
Yeah, I can see Kate Sith. I can see why you don't like Gao. But honestly, back in 4, there were a couple characters I really didn't like. I didn't care for Palom and Porum at all. Like, they were like these twins with magical powers that kind of complemented each other, but they were just kind of... little shits that I didn't like having around.
What about you, Willie?
Shoot. God, I'm blanking on the name. Hold on.
Do you know it?
Norg. Norg from Final Fantasy VIII. What the hell was that all about? Like, this guy runs a coup and takes over half of Balam Garden, and no one's ever heard of him before now.
Yeah.
Unless we're going with playable characters, in which case I have no idea. I'm going to say Talon. I guess I can also go with Edward, who, despite giving us the use moment, sucks ass and spends a lot of the game creeping on Rydia, who is a child. But
she went to the time machine and aged 10 years in 4 days.
Yeah, now she's a dragon.
No, it's bad.
Whatever.
I
don't care.
Get your lolly shit out of here.
Fuck off.
Absolutely. The thing with Norg that I remember is like the garden was financially in trouble, and he was like a rich, weird alien creature thing that Sid brought in, so they just like stuck him underneath, and he funded the garden, but they like would do things for his benefit, and there was a whole bunch of shit that needs to be fleshed out in a hashtag Final Fantasy VIII remake.
Let's go.
I mean, I'll probably be 60 by the time they decide to do that one, because they got to do 9, and then they got to do 6, and everybody hates it, and then they do another one of 6.
Yep. Well, I think that about wraps it up, fellas. Dalton, you want to drive us into the house cleaning?
Yes, sir. Let me pull out the broom. If you would like to join the disc... Wait, where's my... okay, there you go. Okay, sorry. I lost my link there for a second. All right, if... you enjoyed the show and you would like to come join, I would really like you to join our Discord.
We almost forgot to do something. My host pick for next week.
Oh, yes. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. What's your host pick?
So our next game on the books is going to be Neon Abyss. So get ready for some fun action roguelite side-scrolling shooter times.
I was about to ask what the hell Neon Abyss is, but you just summed it up. Okay. Word up. It's got the word neon in it, so I'm down.
Did you pick that because neon white
is
really
it's just because it's one that's always popped up for me. Like, Steam has recommended it to me a million times, and I've gotten it. We got it on Epic for free, and I was like, this is one I've actually wanted to play, and so I figure now's a good time to do it, because like I kind of want a game where I can pump hours into it when I feel like it, and don't feel like having a big story mode to have to go and finish, while at the same time being able to go back and play some other games I'm playing, like Arkham City, and get back into Trails in the Sky.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, dude. So Neon Abyss will be our next episode. And then, okay, so now, pull the broom back out. If you'd like to join our Discord, which we would really like for you to do, we have a cool ass community in there. Everybody's super chill.
Lots of people joining this last month. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's been nice, man. Like, and it's always cool when like somebody joins and I see them and I'm like, I don't recognize them. Do you guys recognize them? Y'all don't recognize them either? Woo! Somebody that's not one of our friends joined. Woo! Now they can become our friend. But yeah, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. If you want to check out our website, which is like all of our lists, Jesus Christ, listen to me. All of our episodes and the links to the stuff that I'm telling you about right now, plus the stuff that Nate will fill you in on here in a minute. It's bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast, capitalized phonetically. if you enjoy the show and you'd like to donate, which we would very much appreciate, you can go to patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. And I would like to give a special shout out to our patrons who donate at least $10 or more a month. And that would be Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper, Jeff, the original expendable Mr. Syllables, Old Jeffy Lube, the questionnaire himself, Old Jeff, Eraser Adam, shout out to his podcast Revival and Extinction, James, the Steam Machine Hall Monitor Hall, and new Team Retrogue. Go check out his YouTube channel of the same name.
Yeah, he reviews a lot of retro console, like handheld portables that are used to play retro games and stuff. He's got some good stuff on the Analog Pocket and some more consoles like that. And
he also just did a review of the Steam Deck, I believe. So definitely go check him out. It's nice. Team Retrogue, Retrogue. Just in case you try to spell that and it doesn't come up, because I don't always speak the clearest when I'm editing. I hear that, so I apologize for that. Anyway, also, he joined in at the $20 tier, which is the tier that if you join in at $20, you can choose a game and we will move it up the ranks and play it with you. So he chose Kingdoms of Amalur. So sometime after spooky season, I've already hashed this out with him. Sometime after spooky season, once we get through that, we'll be diving into Kingdoms of Amalur, and he's going to come join us for that show. So
that's a fantasy role-playing game that was written by R.A. Salvatore and drawn by Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane did enemy designs and things like that, I believe, and the art style. And let me tell you, like, it's a very colorful game. A lot of colors going on. It's fun. Let's see what else. Shout out to Yabspod, yet another BS podcast that I do with Jeremy. Every week we kind of just bullshit. This week, if you haven't already listened to it, you are in for a doozy of an episode 22. It went long. Shout out to the JRPG Report, which is a weekly JRPG news show that I am the host of. And also shout out to General Gaming News with General Gamer, which is a regular gaming news show that I am also the host of, which is doing all right. We'll see if it sticks around. But I'm having fun with it so far. So as long as I still have fun with it, I'll keep doing it. But you want a shirt? tsmpproductions.threadless.com. Gonna put some new designs up there. And I was talking to Jeremy about some of the fucking crazy Yabspod pictures that he does with our faces, making those into shirts and putting them up there, because that pretty much encompasses all the shows on that Threadless thing. So keep an eye out there. And I have too many plugs, so this is the last one, I promise. NileTheNightmare.bandcamp.com. Check my music out and leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. That really helps us in the algorithm. Nate, your turn, sir.
That's right. So I actually streamed again. So come join me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at TurtleBearMan. Keep it short and sweet for you. See you there. I winked at the camera like you guys could see it listening.
Willie, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No, just kind of wanted to catch up, say, been on my new medication for a couple of weeks. I had some tough side effects the first couple of days, but seems to be going better. That's why I didn't end up playing the game for the show this week, and I was going to take off, is I was struggling with side effects at first. I didn't have a lot of hours for the game, but things are going really good, and I'm really happy about it. So, I don't know, y'all just take care of your health. Stay hydrated, get some sleep.
Aye, for sure. I 100% agree with that, and so does Jeremy, by the way. He mentioned that on Yabspod this week, that he is very proud of you for seeking helping, because Jeremy had to do that recently too.
Thank you. I've had a couple people reach out to me privately, and I also really appreciate that. So thank you very much for that.
Well, I think that about does it, man. That means in 2 weeks we'll be back with some Neon Abyss. Man, sorry, my brain just thought of Abyss from TNA, but in an all neon outfit, and I need that in my life. So
somebody's going to the WWE 2K character creator after this
right now. But for the Destructo Bros, I am Dalton, and until next time, guys.
Did Sephiroth do this?
Now my reality's not what it seems.
Just a broken promise.
Fate is a fickle mistress. Well beyond my capability to handle the pressures of your love. Finding my way on my own again. Finding a way to the promised land. I can hear the voices calling,
Telling me to come home.
when I hear them beckon me,
I hear the black Syria drone.
telling me it will be okay. Surrender yourself, become the life force. Surrender yourself, become the life force. Yes, you die.